Every time I turn on my damn YouTube, it's damn Trump, war, this, that. It's like just a couple weeks ago it was Epstein all down my timeline. It's the propaganda of it all, guys. On fire, literally. Literally, this shit is on fire. Literally. I'm not understanding, sis. I'm not understanding what Trump and his demons got going on. These demons in the White House. They don't want to deal with these demons in Congress. They don't want to deal with these demons on Epstein Island. They don't want to deal with these demons who causing the rent to go up. They don't want to deal with these demons who have been hiding the history.
I got a couple questions. I need some answers. Can y'all tell me why the fuck is we doing all this?
I don't know, sis. I don't know.
Like, who the fuck is we paying? Is we paying the planet to live here? Why do everything cost money? Why do we have to pay bills? Who the fuck are we paying?
Who are we paying?
They pay us. And we take the money they paid us and pay somebody else that money. We work our ass off for the money to get the money to somebody else. Why the fuck do we owe the planet so much?
Why, girl? I don't know.
Why you gotta pay till you die?
Why?
Like, damn. That is confusing to me.
Me too,
So I was
sis.
born, and then as soon as I got to of age, I owed the planet? Like, who's the planet?
Why owe you planet? So her name is Big Bay on TikTok. At least that's where I got the video from. B-I-G-G-B-A-I. Big Bay. I'm agreeing with you, sis. Who the fuck are we paying, bro? Who are we paying? Where is this money going to? It's all about war. Does anybody know what a greenback is? I'm going to tell you what a greenback is. I hate when my sounds don't play. What is a greenback?
That's suspicious.
Yeah, suspicious, Cardi. It's very suspicious. So
that's weird.
It's weird, yeah. It's weird. It's weird, Cardi. The reason why we want to talk about greenbacks is because we're in a state of war right now in this nation. And war is definitely a distraction. War is a distraction. War is unnecessary. This war has not been sanctioned. Even if it was sanctioned, it's kind of like this whole government has been built on war. Greenbacks is a story of how a nation, this fake ass United States, tried to invent money out of a necessity. This sits at the crossroads of war, power, banking, and survival. I think it's very important. Greenback, yes, greenbacks. So before 1865, now remember these dates, because 1865 was Emancipation Proclamation. This is when our ancestors were fighting these dang on pirates and pilgrims and Neanderthals and troglodytes. We were fighting them for our land while they were trying to reclassify us, misclassify us, turn us into African American, steal our ancestors' land, rename us. They were doing everything in their power. They had the black codes going on. They said you had to go to work. They said that you couldn't read. They said that you couldn't write. They said you couldn't own animals. They said that you couldn't own gold. They said that you couldn't plant no food. They said that you couldn't even live in the country no more. You had to live in their cities. They just did so much. They said you had to go to church. They said you had to go to work. Let's not skip that part, because I know a lot of people like to skip that part. 1865 Emancipation Proclamation. You got it. So this is when they said, hey, you guys are free now. No. You weren't free. They just invented something called money because they were doing war. And they used that money to say, no, you're free now. No, what they meant was, you don't got to go to the cotton field for no reason. We ain't going to steal off your backs for free no more because you fought us so hard. Now we're going to make you go and work for the dollar. We're going to go and make you work for the cotton, for these greenbacks. What happened before 1865? There was war over here on this land. People like to say, oh, they're bombing other places. They're bombing this place. But what about just 100 and 200 years ago when y'all was bombing this nation? Y'all was bombing the melanated people over here. And you never pay them back for all the free labor, for all the stolen land, for all the stolen cotton. You never paid my ancestors back. All this nation want to do is move on, move forward, act like shit didn't happen. But we know what happened in 1861. Them greenbacks happened. When the American Civil War began, this was between the Patriots and the Loyalists. The Patriots were in the deep south. They were trying to destroy the Mississippian mound builders. In Tallahassee, aka Tallahassee, you call those the Seminoles. You call those the Creek, the Choctaw, the Muskogee, melanated people who still there today. They just call them black now. They call them erased now. They call them African American now. They don't teach them genealogy. They don't teach them financial literacy. They don't give them no land. Hell, they don't even give you a business. But America had a huge problem when they had the Patriots and the Loyalists. So the Patriots in the South, they were fighting to continue keeping people in slavery. They were fighting to continue the black codes, the slave raiding, and the slave patrol. They were fighting that. They didn't want to give us no type of rights on their paperwork. They just wanted to completely erase us. If you wasn't a white male Christian prince, they said that you were off with your head. This is what they said. So they were fighting these loyalists to the crown. These other immigrants who came over here, these other Slavs who came over here as indentured servants. They said, hey, you can't keep unaliving these people. They know the land. It was our land, goddammit. We knew the land. You can't keep unaliving them. So I had a war going on like, no, unalive, no, about us. The freaky thing about this is you got presidents who people highlight as heroes, who I would say every live, I don't respect none of these. Y'all presidents, especially the first 13 of them, enslaved people. Why they got on the pulpit, or whatever the hell you want to call it, why they got it, and they was addressing the nations talking about liberty for all and justice for all and all of this BS. They had somebody chained at their house. They had the slave patrol going catching people who ran away from the plantation. Remind you, this is a government built on treason, kidnapping, trafficking. What you call it? Oh, you call it slavery? No, let's call it what the fuck it really is. It's trafficking. So when you get these Epstein doing what his ancestors been doing, what? That's why nothing ain't happened. You get Trump 37 felonies, but you can't get a job at Mickey D's. But this fool got the power to send out bombs to people with 37 felons. And the white T-man said, oh, it's okay because he's white. You get one felon, you can't barely even have a driver's license. They call that the school to prison pipeline. Especially in the dirty South, where they harass melanated men, where they harass really melanated people, where they have a shitload of police officers. And when I go to the dirty South, I'll be like, well, damn, how many officers do you need? 2 per person? What the fuck going on down here? But let's go back to 1861. So the American Civil War began. The government of the United States had a big problem. They didn't have no money. So one of these dumb leaders said, you know what? This war is costing massive amounts of money. It's costing soldiers. Right now, people are literally dying for Donald Trump and these heathens for something that they didn't plan, didn't have no approval to do, and they don't give a damn if you care or not. They say, well, we're going to have casualties, but it ain't going to be his son. Oh, well, people going to get unalive, but it ain't going to be the MAGA people who wanted to put him in here. It ain't gonna be these police officers who's trigger happy. Send their ass to war. I thought that was the best idea somebody could have ever said. Send these damn trigger happy officers to war. Since y'all so trigger happy, right? War costs weapons. They have diverted money from food stamps, from housing, from health care, from any damn thing, and put it all into the defense system. I wonder why. We know the real reason why. In 1861, right? This was a time where most money in circulation was gold and silver. Or it was banknotes backed by gold. So gold was the standard. Silver was the standard during this time, 1861. They were stealing all the gold from America. They were stealing all the cotton. They were stealing everything. They came over here on the ship. And they thought that just war was the answer. And if you don't know how they got into the interior, what they would do is they would find the cacique, the king. It wasn't a fair war. They would pull up to your land, which they later renamed plantations. It's just the land that you plant trees and food on and you feed your tribe. That's what the hell it is. They pull up to your land. Hey, where's the king? Where's your food? Where's your gold? Where's your this? Read Christopher Columbus in 1492. Ain't shit changed. The fool pulled up, did his investigation with their gun, and the people so gullible they don't know. But when they pull up to the Seminoles, they had to fight the Seminoles. Now, don't get that twisted. That's what they unconquer right now, right? But they would figure out all of their details, wait for the tribe to go to sleep, wait for the king to go to sleep, everybody going to sleep, and then when what will happen? You get up to your house on fire. You get up to your stuff on fire. They set everything on fire, and then they pow, pow, pow as the people ran out, and then took everybody captive. So this wasn't fair war that they was doing. This is some BS coward type shit that was doing, until they learned about bombs, until they learned that they could just destroy stuff, like Tulsa, like Black Wall Street. They learned, oh, we just destroy? Let's just do that. So they needed more money for soldiers, weapons, food, transportation, and medical care. And what did they do? They started greenbacks. Greenbacks was taking the money off of the gold standard, saying, you know, we don't need gold no more. We don't need to have it backed by silver. We can just print this shit. And that's what they started doing. And they called it greenbacks, which is what you work for now, just greenbacks. Some cotton and linen on a paper with the colonizer's face on it. You go to spend 40, 50, 60 years of your life working for it, and it don't amount to nothing. Unless you learn financial literacy. Unless you learn how to play the game. I'm not here to teach you how to play the game right now, but it is a way to play the game, i.e. Monopoly. But if you don't know how to play the game, you're forever stuck, which is why they don't teach financial literacy, because if you learn the game, you'll be like Amazon where your taxes is $0, but you're making billions, trillions of dollars. During the war, gold started disappearing from circulation. They was going broke. They've been broke since been broke. This is 1861. Their government at this time was only 70 years old, because the government started in 1790. This is why history is so important. The first president, George Washington, who owned about 300 plus slaves, might I add, the government started 1790, right? With this man kidnapping people, trafficking people. So stop acting like Epstein is so far removed from your beginnings, guys. Stop acting like Epstein and Trump so far removed from y'all damn beginnings. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Ain't nothing. Let's call it what it is, right? So as gold started to disappear, banks demanded high interest to lend money, and the government needed funds fast. So, using their enslaved people to get loans off of enslaved people. They was using insurance. They was putting insurance on the enslaved people. All of that stuff. Aetna, Bank of America, all of those people. JP Morgan, all of these big names you hear now, they were all involved with enslaving people to work for free and doing all this evil shit. Okay, so that was greenbacks, because these backs were bills printed in green ink, and the color helped prevent counterfeiting, and they were originally called United States notes. That's the first form of money. When they say, you know what, we just need some money, so we just gonna print this shit, color it green, and say that this money, it ain't really backed by nothing. People think that money went off of the gold standard in the 70s with Nixon, but no, it started off the gold standard. How much money was printed? This is something that's shocking to me. What's up? How much money was printed from 1862 to 1865? Because remember, 1865 was that Emancipation Proclamation, when they said, oh no, you guys are free now, but you must go to work because it's a law that you got to go to work now for these greenbacks. You free. We ain't gonna make you go and work for free no more, but we still gonna make you work for free, because now you working for greenbacks, which don't have no back. It's like having a human body with no spine. Imagine that. You would just be all, it's like, it ain't backed by shit. So in 1862 to 1865, the government printed $450 million in greenback. They printed $450 million worth of free money so that they could continue to do the war and trick people and make people and pay Union soldiers, buy war supplies, finance the Northern war efforts. Without this fake ass money, they could not have sustained the war financially. And then the people in the South would have won, and then they would have been trying to put people in slavery forever. They would have been kidnapping these indigenous Niji Amerindians forever, till, you know, it would just been war forever. Why didn't people like greenbacks? It's obvious why they didn't like greenbacks, because this is money that should be backed by gold. It should be backed by silver. But printing money causes what? Say it with me, guys. Inflation. Y'all see this word all over the news. Inflation. What is that? Well, inflation will have the same 5-cent candy costs $2 now. It has the same 25-cent bag of chips. I reported on how much deficit the government is running. And it went from in 1965, they had $3 million to now it's like almost $2 trillion worth of deficit. And this war now is costing us $1 to $2 billion a day. So they printing $1 to $2 billion a day. Now my whole thing is eventually the system will crumble. Eventually the system will fall apart, right? Because during war, prices are going to rise. The dollar's value is going to fluctuate. And these greenbacks prove something. They proved that the government could start creating money without gold backing if people trusted it. And what's going on now is people trust in these clowns too much. They trust that they're going to vote their way to freedom. They trust that they're going to vote their way to sanity. They trust they're going to vote their way to riches and wealth. It ain't going to work like that. It ain't going to work like that, guys. It's not work like that. The government basically does what it did then once it took people off of, once it made the laws where they couldn't arrest you for reading and they couldn't, well, they still arrest you for traveling. They still, you know, they had, the laws was crazy. They was arresting you for reading, traveling, gathering with your group, being homeless. You know, once they started printing the money, they said, okay, well, we could just pay them little or nothing. Little or nothing. How much cotton does it cost to print $1 million? This number should always be in the back of your mind. Anytime you thinking that you falling in love with money or you feeling down and now you feeling like in your season, this money ain't real, so it don't have nothing to do with your spirit, right? You might not have a lot of it because you didn't learn the game, but you can learn the game. It's not the end of the world. As long as you got a heart, a brain, a mind, you happy, don't let nothing in this world break your spirit, because that's the whole goal, to break your spirit, right? But this money didn't mean nothing. Now these greenbacks, the more they circulate, the more money they print. If it takes them $10,000 to print $1 million, they could just do what they want. And I think that's the whole moral of what I'm talking about, is they can do what they want. And what has happened is people like Trump feel like, hey, we can just keep printing money. We could just print money and like, hey, the war costs $2 billion. Who gives a damn? Now they have the energy. They don't care. They don't care who they hurt. They don't care what programs they got to end. As long what he said, I built this defense system to the best of its ability. Just talking cocky shit. Like, what is wrong with y'all? Oh, people are going to be unalive. That's a casualty of war. What is wrong with y'all? I can't even say what's wrong with y'all, because this is what has been wrong with y'all. Anytime you think you can form a government on the backs of other people and enslave them and not pay them, and then you can keep going on for years and years and years and keep creating laws to try to erase the old shit that you did, it don't ever work out. It's kind of like being in a relationship with a man who doing some shit behind your back forever, and then one year you find out and they like, oh, well, what? It's over, bitch. It's no apologizing, because you been knew what you was doing. So one day the people going to wake up and realize, damn, we've been working for this money and all they got to do is print it. I was thinking about this the other day, like, you sit around here and work for years and years trying to be a millionaire. All they got to do is say, hey, I'm a little short. Can you print me $1 million? Paper money issued by the government became normal after they did this after the war. So it became normal. So just think, our ancestors been on Turtle Island, American territory, for thousands of years before they were infiltrated by the pirates, the pilgrims, the Slavs, you know, whatever you want to call them. We evolved, we traded, we lived under the sun, we know how to plant our own food, we know how to have our own animals, we know how to be in a community. When I lost my mom, I thought it was over for my life. I honestly thought it was over. I thought that I was doomed, honestly. It was like such a traumatic time that I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what would become of my life. I just didn't know. When my mom gave me she planted the seed at 4, 5, 6 years old, you're going to be a doctor. Nobody know that was really going to be a real thing. But when she died, something in me, that kid inside of me said, you know what? I got to prove the people wrong, because they already expect me to fail for real now. I'm like, they really got a target on my back for failure now. I used to have the stereotypes of being a teenage mother. I used to have the stereotypes of being a high school dropout. I used to have the stereotypes of just being nothing, just simply from the color of my skin. They said I wasn't going to amount to nothing. You're not smart enough, they said. You don't have the parents. You don't have your dad in the home. You don't have your mom in the home. You ain't gonna amount to shit, basically. But me, as that little girl, the only thing I could think of was, I'm gonna make something out of myself. I saw all the people around me. I'm like, no, I gotta be somebody. I will be somebody. Regardless of how much the government has done to hold my people back, regardless of how much the system has done to oppress people who look different than the people in leadership, I will become something. And no one is going to stop that. So when I had this bright idea as a kid, I'm going to go to school and just do good and try my best. It was easy for me. Of course, school got to a place where it wasn't easy, but in the back of my head was nothing going to stop me from breaking this generational curse. So I said, let me go and try to become a doctor. Why I thought of the hardest shit ever, I don't know. Like, why I said, you know what, Mom, I know you watching me, you're not here anymore, but I'm going to try to do this shit. I said, I'm going to try to do this shit. It's hard as hell, but I'm going to try to do it. And guess what, guys? Through a lot of faith, through a lot of prayer from my ancestors, through a lot of just, miracles, I'll be honest, miracles, what you call modern day miracle, I survived all of that shit. It's a lot of stuff, it's too much to go into, but just know I survived it all. And I get to a point where it's like, hey family, hey guys, I did this for the family, and it was so heartbreaking to know, and it's always heartbreaking to know that sometimes family don't give a fuck. They're gonna be like, girl, we don't care about you being no doctor. That's the energy I be getting sometimes. They be like, we don't give a damn about that. Everybody for themselves. We understand you, we don't care about that. And that's the energy I get a lot. And I had to learn to say, you know what, I'm still gonna toot my own horn. I'm still going to break these generational curses, because I might not be doing it for the people who I thought that I was doing it for, but somebody needs this. People would try to make you the black sheep because you accomplish shit, and they say, oh, it's lonely at the top. Fuck that. It ain't lonely at the top. Y'all just haters. You're just bogged down by a system that made you be mad at life because you're not breaking those generational curses. You allowing life to break you down. That's why I have to be the example to let people know you can go through some BS. You can come out on the other side way better than you thought. Regardless of what the government trying to do, regardless of what they're doing with the money, you are going to be something amazing just because of your spirit. Just because of who you are, right? So now when I get into those situations where I remember, dang, I did this for my family. I did this, I have to remember, I did this for me. I did this for the people who actually believe in dreams. I did this for the people who actually believe in community. The people who want to see you win. Because, see, I'm all about seeing people win. I want to see you win. If you doing it and you overcame something, I'm so happy for you.
Just got a bag and a cake. Blow the candles out.